The Last Laugh, a campfire tale. The crackling fire cast dancing shadows across the faces of the huddled campers. Lake Whispering Pines Summer Camp was known for its ghost stories, but tonight, Tommy had something special. "Guys," Tommy whispered, his eyes gleaming in the firelight, "have you ever heard of Giggles the Clown?" A chorus of "no" rippled through the group, punctuated by the hoot of a distant owl. Tommy leaned forward, his voice low. "Well, buckle up, because this isn't your average scary story. This is true." Sarah, the skeptic of the group, rolled her eyes. "Yeah, right. Like all your other true stories?" Tommy ignored her. "It happened right here in Whispering Pines, about 30 years ago. Back then, this wasn't just a summer camp. In the off-season, it was home to the Whispering Pines Traveling Circus. The other campers exchanged glances, intrigued despite themselves. The star of the show was a clown named Giggles. Kids loved him, adults loved him. He could make anyone laugh. But here's the thing, nobody ever saw Giggles without his makeup. Never." Tommy paused, letting the silence build. One summer, things started to go wrong. Props would break mysteriously. Animals would get spooked for no reason. And people started to disappear. A twig snapped in the woods, making several campers jump. At first, it was just a juggler, then a trapeze artist. The ringmaster said they'd quit, gone to other circuses. But there were whispers that someone had seen Giggles sneaking around the missing performers' trailers at night. Sarah scoffed, but Tommy could see the unease in her eyes. It all came to a head on the last night of the season, the big finale. Every ticket was sold. The tent was packed. And then Tommy's voice dropped to barely a whisper. The other campers leaned in. And then the screaming started. A gust of wind made the fire flicker, shadows leaping. By the time the police arrived, it was too late. They found the tent empty. No audience, no performers. Just streaks of blood and a single red nose in the center ring. Sarah hugged her knees, trying to look unaffected. "So what? The clown killed everyone?" "That's ridiculous." Tommy shook his head solemnly. "Not killed, Sarah. Taken. Because here's the real kicker. They never found any bodies. Not one. It's like the entire circus just vanished." He looked around the circle, meeting each camper's eyes. They shut down the circus, of course. Turned the place into this summer camp. But every year on the anniversary of that last show, people say you can hear it. "Hear what?" A small voice piped up. "The laugh," Tommy whispered. "Giggles' laugh. And if you hear it, well, let's just say you might end up joining his eternal audience." As if on cue, a high-pitched giggle echoed through the trees. The campers froze. "Very funny, Tommy," Sarah said, her voice shaking slightly. "What? Did you plant a speaker or something?" Tommy's face had gone pale. That wasn't me." The laugh came again, closer this time, accompanied by the soft honk of a bicycle horn. Panic broke out. Campers scrambled to their feet, screaming and running towards their cabins. Tommy stood rooted to the spot, staring into the darkness beyond the fire's light. There, just at the edge of the shadows, he saw a flash of white face paint and a red rubber nose. Then the fire went out. The next morning, the camp was in chaos. Parents were called, police questioned everyone, and search parties combed the woods. But there was no sign of Tommy. The other campers told their story through tears and trembling voices. The cops dismissed it as a prank gone wrong, a campfire tale taken too far. But Sarah knew better. Because there, on Tommy's bunk, she found something that made her blood run cold. A single white glove much too large for a child's hand with a note pinned to it. In messy, childlike scrawl, it read, "Thanks for the story, kid. You really killed them with that one. See you at the next show. G." As Sarah stared at the note, a distant calliope began to play, its cheerful melody drifting over the lake. And somewhere, just out of sight, she heard the faint sound of laughter. Years passed. Lake Whispering Pines summer camp closed down, the scandal of the missing boy too much to overcome. The land was abandoned, the cabins left to rot. But sometimes on quiet nights, locals swear they can hear music on the wind, the tinny sound of a circus calliope accompanied by the laughter of children, and one adult laugh that sends chills down their spines. Some say it's just the wind in the pines. Others claim it's the ghosts of the long-lost circus, still performing their final show. But a few, those who know the story of Giggles and the missing camper, they say it's something worse. They say it's a warning. Because Giggles is still out there, still hunting for new performers, new audience members to join his eternal circus. And if you hear that laugh, that high-pitched, manic giggle, well, you better run. Run, and pray you're fast enough. Because Giggles might be coming for you next. Just remember, no matter how far you go, no matter where you hide, there's no escaping the last laugh. The fire had burned low as Jake finished his tale. The other counselors sat in stunned silence, the only sound the chirping of crickets and the lapping of the lake against the shore. "Jesus, Jake," Maria whispered. "Where'd you hear that one?" Jake shrugged, a small smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "Oh, you know, around. Urban legends, local folklore, that kind of thing." "Well, it's a good thing the kids are all asleep," Chris said, standing up and stretching. "That would give them nightmares for a week." The others murmured in agreement, gathering their things and heading towards the cabins. Jake lingered, stoking the dying embers of the fire. "You coming, Jake?" Maria called over her shoulder. "In a minute," he replied. "Just want to make sure this is out properly." As the footsteps of the other counselors faded, Jake looked out over the dark, still surface of the lake. For a moment, just a moment, he thought he saw a reflection in the water. A white face, a red nose, a wide, tooth-filled grin. Jake smiled back. "Good show tonight, Giggles," he whispered. "See you at the next performance." And as he turned to follow his fellow counselors, the faintest sound of a bicycle horn echoed across the water, followed by a giggle that was swallowed by the night.